Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Married at First Sight All-Star panel. I'm Glenn from Jack and Glenn, along with my beautiful wife, Jackie. What's going on, Jackie?
Hi.
Hey, we got my main man, Tommy from August Love Story. What's up, Tommy?
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Busy day, man. Sorry for you guys starting a little bit late today. Just had some technical difficulties. It's been one of those weeks, but it's all good. But we're here to talk about Married at First Sight, season 16, episode number 10. Man, there's a lot to talk about in this episode, in my opinion, man. Each one of these couples got their own individual issues and problems that's going on. We're gonna see how things shape out, see how things get started. Man, but how was your weekend, man? Good coffee break yesterday.
Man, it was solid coffee break. I appreciate the heads up text you sent.
Oh, no
Cause
problem, brother.
I never would have known that. Cause everything looked good on my side. But no, the weekend's been good, man. It's just going by too fast, man. Tomorrow I gotta go back to work.
I know, man. But hey, gotta go back to work, and I know how that is. Definitely know how that is. So I know, but March Madness this week, so March Madness this week. But it's not basketball. Let's talk about Married at First Sight. There's a little bit of madness going on with these couples as well. So let's start with this couple here, man. Give me your thoughts on Gina and Clint, man, from this past episode. I can just say this real quick. Clint is really growing, and Clint is growing on me. I ain't think I would like Clint, but Clint, my man now. Clint is my man. Your thoughts.
That's the same thing I was thinking. I was like, Clint is really trying in this relationship. And it's working, is my opinion. I think she's starting to see the effort and seeing that it might be worth trying a little bit harder with him. I was really happy when they got to I think they went on the sailboat this episode, right? They went sailing on the dang. And I was like, at that point, I was like, okay, Clint, you're 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 doing what you're supposed to do. And it's her who has to receive the efforts that you're doing. And I'm my opinion about Clint and how he moves. Yeah, I think Clint is a lot like he thinks of himself. I don't want to call him a narcissistic person, but he definitely thinks of himself. But you see the effort. Like when you see successful couples in this experiment, you like he's given that type of effort. Um and I think Gina likes it. They went to the what is it called? I don't want to say the PBR, but the professional bull riding competition. They went there. They seemed to have a really good time there. When he went to her salon or saloon, it's a salon. When he went there, she was the one who, like, it was almost like, look at my man, you know, type of deal that I felt, or type of vibe that I felt with her. Um, I think he's wearing her down, like Steve Urkel did Laura on Matters. I think he's wearing her down, and I just kind of want to see where their relationship like grows to. I know they're gonna run into some issues, but I'm just curious to see how they handle those. When he said, I was shocked when he was like, I got someone pregnant, and his response was an emotional one and everything like that. So that was kind of shocking to hear because I just knew from the preview from the previous week that somebody was pregnant now. And that was something that they had to deal with. So no, overall, man, I'm just kind of happy where they are. I don't really have nothing really like it was amazing to see, almost kind of, you know. I'm trying to see if it's anything else in it. Nah, yeah. Only time will tell with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. They were really low key this episode, just really getting to know each other more. I feel just like y'all. At first, I was like, I feel like Clint's gonna be a problem,
Hmm.
but he's putting forth the effort. Like he's really like, I'm let me get past what I said, and it tells me that he wasn't malicious when he made his comment, you know, and so, but he's still making an effort. And I feel like I saw Gina putting forth the effort, and she's kind of opening up to him. She talked about when she before he came to the salon, how she really was overthinking the moving in thing, and it's not as bad as she thought it would be. I mean, granted, they're sleeping in 2 different rooms, but at least they're in the same space, so they can get to know each other. And I really liked their vibe at the salon. I liked their vibe on his sailboat, and I liked their vibe when they went to the bull riding thing. I was like, okay, let's see. I think if nothing else, I still don't think they're gonna stay married. Just to jump ahead, I don't think they'll stay married, but I think they'll be really good friends at the end. I would be surprised if they get to the point where it's like, yeah, let's stay married and try it after the cameras go. I can't see it.
And Clint can always sneak down to her apartment, right? Or sneak up to her apartment. I don't know, whichever way it is. No, I think Gina is really opening up to him, as you mentioned. You said it that the comment is like now like an afterthought. The comment is like really gone because she's starting to grow and understand him, right? And I think living like what Pastor Cal said, when you start living with a person, you start to see that real person, right? You start to see that real intent, see how genuine they are, see them in a different light. You figure we see a lot. We saw early in one of those clips, it didn't say anything. We saw Clinton was the one that was doing the cooking, and we saw Clinton doing different things to ease her in. And we see Clinton wanting to let her into his life, right? I mean, his sailboats were like everything to him. Mm-hmm. So I think with him to let her on the sailboat shows, you know what? I trust you, right? It's like a guy who's letting a woman drive his brand new car, a convertible, the Corvette or whatever case. He let her steer the boat, right? He let her work on the boat. He let her do things with the boat with Dane. So I think it shows him that he really, he's all in. He's invested. And even when he came into the salon, right? I still thought one girl was trying to be messy with the whole comment about. I thought thinking that he was supposed to be messy. I thought she was trying to be, try to throw some shade of something maybe that Gina said. But it wasn't that. Clint. One thing about Clint, he knows how to work a room, and he knows how to work people, and he knows how to get people to like him and get involved with him. And so I think that is good with him. Gina, there's still some quirkiness about her. I don't think she puts 100% trust in Clint. I think she likes the friend aspect, as you mentioned, or like the incitement. He's doing what the expert said he would do, pulling her out of her shell, right? Giving her some excitement, some adventure. The professional bull riding thing was a good thing for them. They can let their hair down and have a little alcohol in them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Pay $21 for a beer, whatever the case may be, each one at these sporting events. But so she was able to let her hair down. He was able to let their hair down. And one thing I like about it too, they didn't have to really worry about driving. They could just walk and they could just work and allow them to maneuver that way. So it's pretty cool to see how Gina and Clint is growing, how she's opening up to him. She still ain't kissing him yet. So she's still not giving my man any kissing. Watched the after party, said she's not kissing him, has not kissed him since the honeymoon. I think it's about that time that she let that go, because I think even though you start building that friendship, you don't want to be, if this is a marriage, you definitely don't want to be in the friend zone that long. And they don't want to be in that friend zone. I think Clint said with his mom that they wasn't emotional, right? They wasn't physical. Mm-hmm. And his mom was giving some good advice about her business, building her business. And I think there's got to be a balance when you're doing your business and your relationships. And you got to have that balance. So if Gina can create that balance and Clint can continue to be genuine about who he is and about what there is, I think this couple, I'm not going to say yes on decision day, but I don't think we have any more blow-ups than that we had on the honeymoon. I think she will understand where he comes from and understand the language that he speaks. And I mean, if they had this at the honeymoon, the comment he made would have been like Chris and Nicole's comment. She wouldn't have took it seriously. Yeah. Which Nicole blew that all out of proportion anyway. I mean, I say that to this day, going back and watch that. Nicole was the one who blew the whole Clint comment out of proportion and made Gina feel the way that she felt. And my thoughts.
Well, she did that. We knew Nicole was going to do well from this episode, and I know we're going to get to it, but this episode explains why that was blown out of proportion by her at the honeymoon.
Yeah.
So, like, all of it is like, it makes sense now. You know.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense there, man. And
so
I mean, while we there, let's talk about Chris and Nicole, man. Jack, you want to start on this one?
Well, I'm gonna just finish what Tommy was talking about. Where we are too. I was like, Chris was upfront with Nicole and says, I just want to tell you, I said something just in case you hear it later. They asked me what I thought about my wife, and I said she's a little bit thicker than I normally like them, but it's not in a bad way. And I was just like, I'm not mad at him saying she's thicker.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I'm a thick girl. But the way she told him, don't call me thick, I was like, girl, thick and thick. Y'all both saying thick. I would have a problem if he said fat.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she was like, well, if somebody ask you about your wife, don't say. I was like, Nicole, you messing up. But like you said, she explained it because she said she had huge body dysmorphia issues. So yes, she was definitely, when it came to the comment with Clint and Gina, it was real personal to her because that's a major issue. And that's why she played it up. And I think Gina probably had an issue with it, but Nicole played it up some more because that's where she is with her body.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go, Tommy. I got some thoughts on this.
That's why I waited. I was like, who's next? Who's next? No, my whole thing with it, first off, Chris and Nicole are boring to me. And I don't know if it's a good boring or if it's a bad boring, but they're just kind of boring to me. And I'm reading a comment, not thinking that it was necessary for him to say that. I didn't think it was necessary either. I guess he was just trying to, like he knew she was gonna see it eventually, so he didn't want it to come out. But I think I don't find what he said bad because he said the exact same thing Clint said. Now, the way Clint said it, I think could have been better, but the way Chris said it, like if Clint said it the way Chris said it, then I think Gina and Clint don't have an issue. I think Nicole is producing the issue because that's who she is. If it's nothing wrong, I'm gonna produce something to be wrong so we can have some type of conflict. Almost like I don't think Chris likes the idea that she's like that made her like how she blows up on the simple things. That's something I think Chris is like trying to figure out. But I do think she's just trying to manufacture these things, trying to rip the band-aid off because she's constantly like, he's so nice, he's so nice, he's so nice, knowing that he's not going to really blow up about anything. So there's the conflict there. And for me, it's the dumbest thing in the world. I don't believe that women should feel a certain way because of that. We talked about the standard of beauty, right? And the standard of beauty is so different for everybody. It's like, hey, whatever you like, that's what it should be. And make you happy. Like if he's using the descriptive word that you used, you can't tell him not to use it. That's the thing that I didn't understand was like she said thick. That like that allows me to say or descriptive word thick, which we know is not demeaning or degrading. Like I can understand if she used the word used the B word or and he turned around and he uses it, I can understand the upsetness because that's a degrading thing. But saying thick, like today's society, we like them thick. That's what everybody's trying to be. They trying to be thick, get these fake booties and boobies.
Right.
And
Right. You got people paying to be thick.
Right. Like that don't make sense to me. But I get it, man. If she has body issues, talk about it. Don't get upset. Don't limit him because he's still trying to know you and learn who you are. And I feel like that's a limiting thing for him. But Chris being who Chris is not gonna complain. It's almost like, man, I'm just happy she giving me some, type of deal. So it's like he's still in a win-win. He's just gonna be like, well, that bothers me, but I'm gonna be cool with it. I'll learn to get over it or something like that. And I feel like that's what's gonna hurt them in the long run. Is that Chris is gonna be so agreeable with the whole idea of different things with her, and in the long run, he's gonna run out of things that he wants to agree to. Yeah, man. Only thing that was more interesting was this absent bar that they went to. I thought that was pretty cool because Artiga was telling me the history about it. She was saying like it was banned, like after Prohibition, it was banned a little bit longer because I think it was some type of hallucinogen, however you say that word, it made people hallucinate. But yeah, they just, I'm sorry, they just not that interesting to me.
Yeah, one thing about Chris, I think people missed out on that whole comment was he first started talking about his own body, right? He started talking about his own insecurities, how he wasn't comfortable with himself being big or his body, and we always see him wearing a t-shirt, and we never see him, very rarely see him with stuff. He was talking about his own insecurity, and to me, what I'm like, yo, he's talking about himself, and you gonna flip it on you? You gonna make it about you? And I'm like, dude didn't have to say anything, right? And this is my thing as a man. I'm sitting here thinking like, yo, you should at least acknowledge the fact that he told you ahead of time. Give him a kudos, a thumbs up. He said, but hey, Chris, by the way, you know what? I appreciate it for the heads up. He's thinking long term, right?
Trying to keep her from flipping out later.
He's thinking months later, like, man, I might still be, because this shows me that he still likes her. Because he's thinking about months later, when this airs, I don't want us to be in a good place, right? Let's say they stay together, right? I don't want us to be married, and then we watch the show together, and you see this one comment and be like, how come you ain't tell me? And now I thought everything was good, and you flipping off of this one comment, which I made about 6-7 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, right? Depends on the filming and all that other stuff. So he's thinking ahead. He's been a forward thinker. So let me get this out. Let me be progressive and get this out the way early. So there's no secrets. There's no comments. There's no hiccups between us, which shows to me, yo, he's invested in this thing. Now he likes it, because most guys would be like, bump it. If I ain't invested, I'm gonna just let her see it. I mean, we saw that last season with Justin and Alexis, right? All the slick comments that she made, right? All the slick comments she made, and then we get back to the reunion. Justin felt some type of way because he saw it on TV.
Right.
Man, I need to stop talking about that dude, man. But you see what I'm saying?
He ain't paying attention.
No, he ain't paying attention. But that's just the point I'm making. So he doesn't feel some type of way. So I think that's one of the things that he's trying to do. So again, I mean, I get it, but in her own mind, I'm like everybody else and most people. It was confusing because if you call yourself thick as a husband, I think you give me the right to call you thick. Now, you call yourself fat, I probably would never call you fat. You know what I'm saying? But thick to me, and I guess in our culture, thick is a good thing, right? Nobody wants any skinny minis. Now, some of y'all out there want skinny minis. That's fine. I mean, that's all well and dandy. Everybody got their own preference. But somebody some people like a little thickness, right? That's what Aries said. I mean, not Aries said you got to grow a little bit of booty. So Chris is just saying that you're a little bit thicker than I usually date, but it's okay. I like you. I appreciate you. I'm glad the expert gave me that. Chris is also saying it's much more than your body. It's your personality I like. It's who you are I like, right? So he's saying, I didn't ask for this, and it's what they gave me, so I'm trusting the expert's process. And so she didn't look at it that way. She just was stuck on the fact that he called me thick. And she was nice about it because she said, what she said, you shouldn't say it that way, but but it's okay. I understand where you're coming from.
Then she was like, "Don't describe me like that."
Right?
Yeah, don't describe me like. My wife is bubbly. She talks a lot. She's very animated. She's it's a lot of things.
Rounded corners.
There's rounded corners. But it's crazy because she took pride in the fact that she was a little thicker when they had the Gina situation. She's like, oh, we all big girls.
No, she ain't say big girl.
What she say?
I think she said bigger.
Bigger girls.
Or fuller figure.
Or fuller figure.
Yeah.
I don't see the difference between, ladies, y'all in the chat, y'all gonna let me know. There's a difference between saying fuller figured and thick.
To me, fuller figured is worse than thick. I mean, it's not, and not that there's anything wrong with calling somebody full figured, but full figure sounds like big.
Man, it's not like he said, yo, you're an Ashley Stewart girl or you're a Lane Bryant girl.
But she probably is, because technically that's like a size 12 is like plus size now. So you know what I'm saying? But
y'all all out of my realm. I don't know what you got.
Oh, my bad, man.
Ashley Stewart is a store.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I know Lane Bryant is a store.
Yeah, it's like so Ashley Stewart is like Lane Bryant, but put a little more hood to it, but not like Rainbow or Route 21 or nothing like that hood. But
see, y'all can tell I have a thicker person that I love.
Don't call me thick. No, stop.
We already had this conversation. We already had this conversation.
I don't know, man. I feel bad because now, like I always say, somebody called her Louisa, like she reminds them of Louisa, and I can't not see it. And didn't find anything wrong with it, because again, Chris was talking about what he usually dates. She's a little thick. He didn't call her like fat or obese or anything like that. He just said she's thicker than what I used to usually date, and that's fine. That's okay.
Right, and he didn't say bigger. He said thicker. Like I feel like if you said you're bigger than I usually like big, who you calling big?
Yo,
don't call me big.
Anything could be thicker, right? I mean, it could be your booty that's thicker. It could be your legs that are thicker. It could be
you
your
have thicker fingers.
Right, you got your arms a little thicker. I mean, it really. I mean, anything that's thicker, yo. And he's not like he was complaining. He just, again, he was giving you a heads up. In the midst of the conversation, he's just giving her a heads up. I just thought she kind of blew it a little bit.
I'm like Tommy. Me and Tommy on the same page. The biggest thing is he used the same word she used.
Yeah.
Not a different word, the same word.
Which is going to haunt him later on, because, again, in an argument, he's going to say the exact same thing she says, and he's going to be wrong. Well, we already saw him wrong. He's going to be like dead wrong. That's
just a wall that men have to run through themselves, man. We've all had that moment.
Yeah.
We've all had that moment, man. That's just something we got to run through.
You just said that, man. And you're like, what are we arguing about?
Right.
Like, you just said it.
How did we get here?
Yeah. You're like, how did we get here? I agree with you. Why are we arguing if I agree with you? Because you ain't said the way I would have said it. And that's basically what it is. He didn't say it the way that she would have said it. And so it's like,
yeah.
And so she like that. But again, I agree with you, Tommy. There's a little bit of she's trying too much. I think she really wants the L word. I will go,
that conversation too.
She really wants to see.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah. She really wants him to say I love you, but she wants to say I love you, but she wants him to say it first. And he knows she wants him to say it first, so he ain't saying it.
I don't understand that. Like, to me, that's dumb. Like, if you love this person, tell them. Because the way I look at it is, you may not get another chance to tell them. So if you feel it, go ahead. Whatever happens on the backside of it, that's on him or the other person. But you say what you feel, and you want a person to know it. Like I just think that's dumb. I'm gonna wait until he says it, or I want him to say it. Why? Do you get an award? Or, that would have been my next question. I also would have asked her, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, I'd have talked more about her, about like why she has so much image issues, and that's the thing, that may be the leading cause what makes her want him to love her first, or like why she keeps bringing up this love thing. Because for some people, she don't even know what love means to him. And I think that's important, or how he shows it, because he may be a person that don't say it. Right? I think he said it. But what if he was a person that didn't say it but showed it? And love is an action and not a noun for him. You know what I'm saying? So it's a deeper conversation that they need to have when it comes to the love word, because anybody can say it, but do you mean it? You know, type of deal. So it's I don't know. I think that's dumb. She wants him to say it. If you feel like you love him, tell him. Because then that makes it where he don't feel like it's a thing for him to, oh, I'm finna get ready to tell her I love her, you know, type of deal. It's just something that happens. And you'll be surprised what the outcome will be. So that was my take on that.
Yeah, I feel like we have this issue every season. There's at least one couple like every season, and it do be a lot of the I want them to say it first, or I just want them to say it. Like, doesn't matter. Like Pastor Cal says, you probably feeling and loving the person before you say it anyway. Because like you said, Tommy, it's gonna be your actions that show it. So what difference does it make? But yeah, I just thought it was funny in her vignette where she said, I want him to say it first. And then in his vignette, he says, I think she wants me to say it first. I was like, now this is funny. Because they literally saying the same thing. And they're on the same page. And I'm pretty sure they didn't talk about it. But they both know what time it is. But yeah, besides that, like you said, Tommy, earlier, with this love conversation, with this thicker conversation, I feel like other than that, they're like smooth sailing, and it's like they're trying to fabricate, not even fabricate, but probably make something bigger than it is. It's probably not that big of an issue, but they remind me of like, but they was even more chill than that. Bobby and Danielle just cruised right through. Bobby and Danielle, what were Bobby and Danielle?
DC,
that Dallas,
Dallas,
smooth sailing. They never had no issue, but they had that conversation about the love. They had to think about the love thing. Or Jessica and Austin.
That's who I'm thinking about.
Yeah, smooth sailing. They had the conversation about saying love too. So yeah, I think they're pretty boring as well.
But it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. But it's just, I think she's trying to produce some type of conflict, and I hate that. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I think she can produce conflict. I think she's her insecurities is bringing the contention with them, because she wants things a certain way, or she want him to. She's kind of trying to mold him per se, without breaking him. She's trying to do it like passive aggressively. Like, this is what, but she's sharing her feelings and her emotions with him, and it's like, okay, I need you to do this. I want you to say it like this, and he's so, as you mentioned, nonchalant, or don't want to hurt anybody. He's willing just to go along with it. Like, I don't want to hurt your feelings, and so I'm just go along with whatever you say.
I just want to address this comment. Is that Kate and Pat? Yeah, when we say boring, meaning like, just like we said, smooth sailing. Like, we like them, but like boring, like it's no real big highs or lows with them. You know, it's no drama with them. So we're saying boring in a good way. Like you would expect it to be in the process, hopefully. That's what the experts are looking for. The couples that they put together, and it's like that. So
I think when I say boring, I like to see couples that are trying to make it work.
Oh yeah,
right? There's not a lot of drama with them, and you see them actually trying to commit the process. We saw them trying to actually commit to the process when she took him to get a massage, right? I think that was something they did on their own. I think we said in our review, something they did on their own, without the experts forcing them to do it, right? I think that's the type of stuff. Unlike when you saw Shaq and Kirsten's staycation, I mean, you saw all the homedic stuff, right? To me, I'm like, that's planning, because the homedics, all the signs and everything came out. So she went by all this stuff. Now that's married at first sight, trying to fabricate or create an atmosphere with the massage. I think it's something that they did. Even with her showing Chris the bar that they went to, it was something that she always wanted to do, And so she's willing to create an outing for her and Chris so they can build a connection. Now, a lot of that has to do with work schedule, and because he works from home and things of that nature. So I think they that Chris and Nicole don't have any others. I mean, the biggest drama we've seen with them is probably a dude crying on the deck about the dogs. You know, I mean, I think that's the biggest. I mean, maybe I'm lying. That's the biggest thing I've seen emotional wise. But I mean, sometimes boring is good. That means couples going to stay together. If you really look at it, Amani and Woody kind of was a little bit boring.
They really,
right?
mm-hmm.
Greg and Deanna was a little bit boring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't really have any blow ups, but they would just continue to work in their vein, in their areas to make this marriage work. I think when you see those couples who are making that work, then they are boring. They kind of work a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so,
yeah. All right.
Where
we going next? Right.
Yeah. Let's go to my man Aries, man, because y'all be on me. Y'all be on me about Aries, man. Y'all be on me like I be rooting for brother. I do kind of root for him a little bit because I don't think he's what's what I'm looking for. I think his intentions are good, but he comes off so like a butt, right? Yeah. I think he has good intentions. He's trying not to hurt anybody, and that's what I like about him. He's not trying to hurt this young lady by having sex with her. He's not trying to. He's being honest. You can't blame the dude for being honest. I mean, I just can't knock that. I can't hate a dude for being honest, right? Because don't you? I mean, tell me, would you want? I mean, as most guys, most women, you're the only woman here today, so don't you? Yeah, don't you? Don't you want? When you want a guy to be honest with you in a relationship? And I think that's what Aries is doing. He's being honest with her in a relationship. You know, but I know some of y'all. I know, Mona. Aries is trash. I know. I know. Tom, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. Come get
man, it's boiling my blood that at the beginning of the season I was like Team Aries, but I'm jumped off that bandwagon, man. I'm truly disappointed in that. I think Jasmine is a very beautiful girl, and he's not getting to the bottom line of his attraction or sexual attraction to her, like the lack of, and it's bothersome. You know, whatever it is, like don't string this young lady. Well, I mean, like you're gonna go through the process, but it's what's the issue? You know, that's where you start to fix a problem, is recognizing the issue. And it's like we're not recognizing the issue. Now, I think we know what the issue is based off of first he has this sexual ask her what's her favorite sexual position when they were on their honeymoon. And then we get to this never have I ever. And I'm completely out of order with the flow of their, episode. But he got to this never have I ever. And I'm like, you see, she's modest about like even telling you her favorite sexual position. You gonna bust out and be like, has she ever kissed a girl? She said no. Then you're gonna come out and say, have she had a threesome? Like, dude, like read the room and look at who you're dealing with. She's not and I don't even want to. She's not as like his sexual level is at a 10. Hers is probably at a 4 or 5. Like she want to do the basic stuff that she like and do this and do that. But it's like, okay, dial it back. You've been living in California. You've been sexually free for the last 10 to 15 years, where she's been in committed relationships, never cheated or anything like that. But you're like, you've taken a lot more sexual freedoms than she has. And it's like you're looking at it from a standpoint of she's boring. That only gives you an opportunity to introduce her to some newer things. Like it's like, okay, if that's the issue, for me, I think that's what his issue is that he's done all of these things and she's just basic missionary, And so if that's the case, it's like, man, you can show her some different things. It's just you have to have the conversation. You have to want to do it. Now, if that's not the issue, you have to express to her what the issue is so you guys can both work on it, because it's a you issue. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a you issue, but she's willing. That's what marriage is. Like we find issues, we find problems, we find solutions, and we work towards them. We compromise on certain things. We talk about these things, and we're honest about those things. I think his biggest issue is trying to be nice to her, and there's no reason to. Like, there's no reason for him to try to be nice to her. Just treat her how you want to be treated. Ain't that the golden rule? Treat a person the way you want to be treated, and I think everything will be cool. But it's like, if you don't like her, you don't like her. Say that. Say, hey, I'm trying to do this. You say she's attractive. If she's not attractive to you. Figure it out. Either you're gonna try to stick with her, or you're gonna say no on decision day. But it's the mystery of things, right? He's trying to not hurt her feelings, and I'm like, don't save her feelings just because you on TV. Say what you mean, because I mean, like, you talk to any other regular couple, me and RT could tell each other what we mean and mean what we say. Sometimes you gotta apologize afterwards, but it's a idea that we know what we know our stance on certain things, and if there's confusion, it's told. So I think that's their biggest issue, and that's the thing that bothers me the most out of Aries, is that it's such a mystery as to what's going on. He rates her, like rating her a 7 on how she took care of him. Man, you got COVID. That's I don't want that. I'm gonna do what I have to do and go on, man.
I bring your food to the door and knock on it, let you come open in and get it, type deal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I ain't come in the room and get COVID like you got get COVID.
Right.
Even though
and then you got to sit up here and take care of me. Like, get out of here, man.
Yeah. You said something, Tommy, that was key there. I think what you said was, with the sexual thing, which Jasmine said she's not. Jasmine said Jasmine is Boston. Jasmine said she's open to that, right? She's open to the whole sexual thing with letting her husband teach her. That's what she wouldn't mind. She's just not open with discussing all that stuff on television. She said, and so she's not, that stuff is not comfortable. It's not funny to her when she brought up. We got to realize she's the one from the church family, right? Mm-hmm. She's the one that grew up in church. Daddy's the pastor. There's some undercover lining back there. She like, yo, I was always taught to be a lady, right? Keep myself together and keep people out of your bedroom. Now, what we do in a bedroom is our business, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think she's willing to. That's what she's willing to do. His physical, he's emotionally attracted to her because all the things that she does for him, I think he likes. It's the physical he can't get past. And I think where people call him a jerk is because he's not getting to that physical aspect of it. Well, he's emotionally checked in. I can see him emotionally checked in. He's emotionally checked in. This dude who didn't like dogs, he's trying to do a gesture to go bathe her dog, right? He's doing a gesture to try to spend time with her. I can just see him trying, whether it's genuine or not. Maybe I'm just a bad detective as being genuine. I think it's genuine that he cares about it. The comments he make is genuine. He's like, I don't mind. She's able to take care of me. She's able to, if I knew I was sick, she would be there. The 70%, okay. I mean, first time taking care of Jackie, if she graded it, probably been 70%. You know what I'm saying? When we were in the marriage. So I'm just being honest. I'm not 100 there. I wasn't 100 because, again, it's new to him. So I want, it's new to how a person needs to be taken care of. He does have an issue with showing affection. He has an issue of showing because it was always been given to her, right? It's always been given to him. According to him, people have always fallen over him, right? Fallen on top of him. Because I don't know why. I'm not saying the why, but I'm just looking at it from his standpoint because if you look at what he says, he always says she thinks he's a 12, never a 10. She thinks he's a 12 or he's the ish, he's the stuff, right? He's always looking at himself highly, so he expects people to fall over him, and she's catering to him, giving him basic needs, and she's meeting his needs, but she's not really falling over him. She's looking for some physical attraction because that's something that's key to her, and he doesn't see how he can. And he's sending mixed signals because he's holding hands, they may be kissing. He may be cuddling in a bed, but then he says he's not physically attractive. Well, if you're not physically attractive to me, why are we cuddling? Why are we holding hands? Why are we doing other stuff? Unless you're trying to get there, and I think that's where I'm confused at. He's a vulgar jerk.
Listen.
But what makes him vulgar? I'm looking at this. He has never cussed her out.
No, listen.
Right? He's never been rude. He's been honest with. He's been honest for what now the sexual comments that she asked a question. I blame her for playing the game. Have you ever? What are you supposed to say? Lie and say he never did? What are you supposed to lie and say? I never had an orgy?
Man, he should have read that room a little bit better.
I know what I'm saying.
No, but you know what? You said it, Tommy. He should have read the room. He should have read the room, right? But he's been an honest, open guy this whole season. So I wouldn't expect him to change.
But this is the thing.
I wouldn't expect it. He's been a transparent book from the beginning. And I'm not saying Aries is my best friend or I really like Aries. What I'm saying is he's been truthful. Now, did the extras make a mistake by putting them together? I agree. But he's not like a Chris, right? But he has been where he's been honest with her from the get-go. I like you, you're this, and this, and I'm not physically attracted to you. We've seen people on this show that lie for 8 weeks, right?
Yeah.
No, explain.
Think about it. We've seen Keith and Iris. Keith lied for 8 weeks.
He didn't. No,
and Keith, broke her heart.
Yeah, Keith didn't lie. He just did not. And a half truth is a lie. But Keith didn't lie. Keith just wasn't upfront. Like, I'm not feeling you like that. This is my problem with Aries. You're saying he's been honest. He's been honest about not having attraction, whatever. But this is my thing. He sat there and told us what the problem is. He said he got his heart broken. He put himself out there. And so after that, he was like, if this is what's going to happen when I open myself up, I don't want it no more. So this is the problem that I have with them putting Aries in a married at first sight scenario. He's 39 years old, and you can tell that in his previous relationships, remember, he was like, he didn't go for the love thing. He said when they talked about have you ever been in love, he said, I felt like I was almost there, but then I pulled myself back. I was like, I don't like this feeling, got my heart broke. And so what he's used to is, this is why Aries is having an issue. He's a 39-year-old man whore. He is.
I agree with that.
And he's used to building a relationship on sex.
Correct.
He's used to building. And so because he don't have that building block, he's stuck. He don't know what to do.
I totally agree with you on that.
He don't know what to do. As far as him and his questions and him being a more sexual person and asking Jasmine, have you ever kissed a girl, somebody the same sex? Have you ever had a threesome? Have you ever done this? You ever done that? And he act like he was really like, man, why you ain't did that? Because everybody don't do that. Okay? I don't even think that has so much to do with her being reserved. Everybody don't do that. And it's okay. But again, that tells me what you are doing. That's what your relationship is based on. After you got your heart broke, then you was just like, I'm just running through. That's what I'm doing.
And I totally agree with that. I mean, he's been running through women, or he's been running through whatever case may be, because again, he doesn't want his heart broke, right? He doesn't want his heart broke. He doesn't want to be to the place where he's really invested in somebody, the quality of Jazz.
And so he should not be in this process. This stuff, sir, you don't come in on Married at First Sight to unlearn or undo what the freak you've been doing for, he said it, for the past 10 years. Don't make me your ex. This is not the time for you to be experimenting. You should figure that out before you, because this process is not going to redo that, especially when, again, what you've been basing your relationships on, you're having that issue. I'm not physically attracted to her. I'm not sexually attracted to her. So you definitely not going to undo that. I wanted to address one other thing you said, when you said that Jasmine said she wanted somebody to teach her and stuff. She do want somebody to teach her, but that don't mean she don't want to go to the far side.
I'm going by what she said. She said she didn't mind.
I know, but when
I'm not saying bringing somebody else into the relationship or doing things like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you're saying that, but I'm saying for him, she's fine with like, I'm not getting ready to talk about it on TV. We can talk about it. Matter of fact, we can talk about it if we're there. The other thing is, I'm not talking with you about that because we're not there. That's the other reason. So I think it's not even just that she's reserved, that she's not addressing it. It's because, why am I talking to you about this? Because you don't even like me like that. So why would I be telling you? But the other thing is, if we go there, we can do the marriage bed is undefiled. Even in this case, the marriage bed is undefiled, so we can do whatever. But I'm also all this probably freaky deaky stuff that you did, sir. I don't think Jasmine's going. Aries is going. He's one of them people that, you know, your guys might ask you, you know, when you get married, you ready to have sex with the same lady for the rest of your life? He seemed like the type of person that would answer like, I don't know.
But see, this is where I think there's a double standard or a mix in shows, because if she was, look at what was different between Aries, right, and Nate from last season. Only difference is that he had a partner who was willing to be just as freaky with him. Because they would say, if you look at Nate and you look at Aries, they're basically saying the same thing. But Nate had a Stasha who was like, okay, I'm ride or die, let's roll.
But they was attracted to each other. That's the problem. Again, you want to talk to me about sexual stuff, and you keep telling me you're not sexually attracted to me. Like, for what?
But
I'm not talking to you about that.
We missing up. He's not telling her. They asked the question. If she had not asked the question, he had never brought up the orgy situation. The question was asked, have you ever, blah, blah, blah. He was like, oh, by the way, I have. Have you ever?
Yeah, he should have just been quiet on that one, man.
Thank you.
Because he asked her if she ever had a threesome. She said no. And she asked him, have you? He said orgy.
Yeah, he didn't.
Like,
yes,
come on, man. Just say yeah and move on.
Overboard, right? She said threesome. Here you go talking about foursome, 5, 6, 7. Ain't
like,
nobody asked for that.
Right, like majority people don't know people that have sat and said, "Hey, I've had an orgy," you know.
Right.
So,
and he literally, when he said it, Tommy, this is the thing. What I'm saying, and his comment was, I think it was in a vignette when he said it. He's like, "Oh, you supposed to do all this stuff before you get married?" No,
no, he told her. He told her that.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't have to have no orgy before I get married. That is not a requirement.
Oh no, I totally agree with that. That's not a requirement. But again, they match. I'm gonna blame the experts here. They matched a church girl. I'm gonna use the term church girl with a dude from the streets, and expecting them to work. And that's where the disconnect of that. I don't agree with everything Aries says. I don't agree with everything Aries does. But what I'm saying is, I just like the transparency that he is honest.
Like, that's the thing. I don't like I get it. The preacher's kid and the horny dude. Like, I get it. It's like, at the end of the day, we're human beings.
Right.
Like, what turns you on, turns you on. And you know, they're married. It's my most bothersome characteristic of Aries is he has an issue and he's not explaining that issue that he has to her. I don't care if it's to us, but she should not be confused as to why he is not really fully in. Like, like if he wants to be honest, you know what I'm saying? The issue that he's running into is he's just pointing out silly things, because her not kissing a girl is a silly thing. Her not having a threesome is a silly thing. All this stuff, you supposed to do this before you get married. She's on the show because she says she's ready to be married. Like, all this other stuff is BS, to be honest. Just because it's like you want her to be a freaky girl for you. Well, you got to tell her what's the block. Like, she can be as freaky as she want to be for him, but you got to tell her what's the block so we can work on it. Like, that's the thing that's bothersome. It's crazy, man.
Listen, but this is the point. I want to drill this home. Listen to what Tommy said, y'all. Jasmine said she's ready for marriage. Marriage is not just sex, Aries. Marriage is just not that.
Right.
Marriage ain't no wedding. It ain't no ring. It ain't no dress. Marriage is I want to be connected with this person. I want to be there with this person. I want to do life with this person. I want us to make life decisions together. I want us to, that's what marriage is. Like, Aries, do you know what a marriage is? It's not just sex.
Right. But if
she's ready for marriage, he was ready to get somebody that he could have all the time to do his sexual exploits.
Right. But if that's the case, he would have just knocked her down. He didn't, and he's not.
No, but I didn't say no. But he's because there's some people that they just, you know, they nasty, but they got standards. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So he not gonna knock her down because he ain't that bad. Because he really could. He could do a Chris. Let me try it to see if that helps.
That's my whole point. My point is that we got to give the guy respect for just not knocking her or just not having sex with her, just to have sex with her.
Yeah.
Right. He at least knows, you know what? I don't want to be a guy who just have sex with her and knowing I don't like her.
Yeah, but he don't come across as the type of person that would do that anyway. I just feel like he didn't do that in the streets.
Oh, he did in the streets?
No. I think if it was anybody he messed with, it was somebody he actually was feeling. To me, he just don't come up, or they was definitely feeling him, and the feeling was mutual. I don't think he was the type that I'm just laying everybody. I don't get no, and I just don't get that from him. Like that he was the type to just be laying everybody, and I don't really like you. Ain't gonna call you tomorrow. He just don't. Even though he did say he's had a one night stand. I mean, okay, but I don't feel like he had it regularly. He just don't seem like that type of person to me. I could be wrong. I don't know what you think, Tommy. He don't seem like the type of person that would just do it with girls just to say I did it.
Well, you probably wrong on that. He probably did have a couple.
Right.
That was a couple,
like,
but not
look.
norm.
He probably had a couple he ain't never gonna tell about.
Right.
I'm just speaking from a man's perspective at this point. Like, hey, we got something that you know our teacher know about, but I ain't gonna be just out here just telling everybody. But you know, it's that's okay, right? It's okay to have a past, I think, and it's okay to talk about that past. But what's not okay is to expect your wife to be on this thing, like be as freaky as you want to be, but not give her a reason as to why you're not trying to be with her. Like, and when I say with her, like in this marriage, like what is the block for you? Because he looks so uninterested this whole episode talking to her, except the one time where he asked her, is she in love? Is she's falling in love? That was the one time he looked like he was interested in her answer. But everything else that they were doing, he looked so uninterested. And it's something that he's not like, it's that thing, man. It's that one thing that he's not trying to work on. That thing it's really bothering me because it's like, bro, that's simple. Like this girl is ready. Like it's rare that you get that. You know, this girl is ready and pretty much will let you take the lead in what you want to do. You know, so it's like she probably has boundaries. If you just want to have a sex conversation, find out what those boundaries are. Find out what her sexual experience is by asking, you know.
But I think it goes to this too, Tommy. It may be, and I don't know if he gone into it, it may that he's never had a man in his life to show him how to. And then here comes the fear because remember his dad passed away early. And so now he hasn't had anybody in his life to actually teach him how to take the lead or how to be a what's the word I'm looking for? To be a leader, to be the head in the theory. Because even if you go back to the matchmaking special, his mama was still doing his laundry, right? His mama was still go back to the matchmaking special. His mama was still doing his laundry and taking care of him. So he has been catered to by women all his life. And so therefore he has not learned how to cater. He has not learned how to do anything else other than maybe have sex or anything of that nature. All right, but he may need that to be around some positive men or some married men. This is where the experts come in at and say, yeah, everything is good, but you shouldn't be sharing those type of information. You can be transparent, but only to a certain extent. Or your wife doesn't need to know your past exploits. or you may need to get past the 8 weeks before you start sharing some of this stuff. Make sure you guys have a strong connection. But so there are some of the things that may be in play with Aries, that he had the lack of men in his life to teach him how to, or lock. I didn't say necessarily men, lock a lack of positive marriages that he can see how they work and how they prevail and how they manage. And that's why you see all the fault that he's having here in this issue. Again, I'm to the point, not that I'm a big Aries fan. What I'm saying is that sometimes, even in relationships, you have to be able to see where he's coming from, because he's still giving her a shot. She still have a chance to turn it around. And they may have a chance to turn his relationship around. But again, how much is he willing to put into it from a man's standpoint, other than sex, as Jackie mentioned, how much he's willing to invest and learn from her, much more than just sex.
No, I'm with you on that, man.
Yeah, and King Mark, you're right. His cousin was right. It's not, it is about relation. It's about commitment, and Aries hasn't had that commitment. And whoever that young lady was that broke his heart, really broke his heart, right? We all see it. You see it from different aspects. When a woman is really heartbroken, it takes time to get over it. But a man is really getting his heart broke. Aries mentioned it's going to take him more time to do so. So it is that time. So please don't come after me with the hate about Aries. Please don't come after me. I want to see. Believe y'all don't understand. I read the comments. I don't comment on everything. I read them. Like, oh, Glenn, this. But again, I think Aries is being. It's a lack of having men in his life, a lack of commitment, and lack of filters, because he's never been held to a filter, right? Or ever been held to a standard, and now he has to be held to a standard in a marriage, and he has to be. Aries has always looked out for Aries. Aries never really had to look out for somebody else, and I think that's what it is. Aries has been looking out for Aries all his life, and Aries other people has been looking out for Aries, and Aries doesn't know how to look out to somebody else who really likes him or he's connected to 24/7.
He just need to grow up. He's too freaking old.
Yeah.
He's almost 40. He's almost 40 years old.
That's another thing too.
Let's not get on age, because he might be 40 in age, but his mind may not be there yet.
That's why I said he need to grow up.
That's another drawback to me. You know, like, you look at things differently after a while, and it's like, man, you finna be 40, and I'm with you, Glenn. Like, maybe it's because he didn't have the example, but I'm gonna be truthful with you. I didn't know how to be a husband to my wife until we got married. I'd never been a husband to her. At that point, I've only been a boyfriend, a fiance, a friend. So it's, and even now, 6-7 years in, it's still ever changing. It's still things I have to check myself for. So it's a growth process that I don't feel like he's gone through. Like, I mean, like, okay, your heart broke and you did all these things, but it's a growth process through you doing all of these things. Like, at what point do you not want to do them anymore? At what point do you want to say, hey, I want to break down and have a family, or I want to get married and I want to do these things and give it a real good shot? Because assuming that that's what he wants, reason why he got on this show. Now, everybody has they were recruited and everything like that, but you're on the show, you agreed to it. So something in you say, hey, I wouldn't mind being married. So it's like, what do you get out of being in the position that you're in right now? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the terrible part about Aries. I think he's a pretty cool guy. I think he's a software engineer. I think all of those things are pretty cool about him. But it's just looking at the screen, it's like, man, you have this young lady who wants to be your wife. Learn to be her husband. Even if you're like whatever it is that you're struggling with, talk to her about it. That's fair. That's the right thing to do, because even if you say, no, I don't want to be married to her on decision day, you do know that, hey, I can grow from this, or from this relationship, this is what happened. And then you have the video to look back on.
Can I say this?
I want to ask Mona's question, because if you think it was Kirsten or Dominique, because they got a little bit more butt, a little bit more chest, do you think we were having this issue with Aries?
Nah, Aries would already tried to hit Kirsten.
Absolutely.
Dominique, on
Absolutely.
the other hand, I don't know.
But Kirsten, whichever one, absolutely. He the GTD. But can I say this real quick? Because Tommy said this. You made a point that you didn't know how to be a husband until you and Artika got married, but you knew how to be a man. And that's the difference. I think Aries doesn't know how to be a man.
That goes to my
you got to be a man before you can be a husband.
That goes to my point. But sometimes there's young men who need to be taught that if your father is a traumatic experience, your father passing away, getting murdered, don't know if anybody else came back into his life. As we see, he was always connected around women who was doing things for him, and now he does not know how to be that.
But he probably listen. Let's use the operative word. I feel like even though his father and his uncle weren't there, I bet he had some men in his life. But the thing is, he had men in his life that probably did the same thing that he's doing now. They
right
probably,
from wrong.
Huh?
He know right from wrong.
Yeah.
But think about it. He's doing right. He's doing right by her though. He's not where we want him to be as viewers, but he's doing right. Boy, he ain't lying to her. He ain't sleeping with nobody on the side, right? He's still interacting with her. He ain't staying out late nights. We seen some dudes on this show like Matt who didn't come home, right? And was sleeping with somebody else. We see people like Chris who was back and forth between his baby mama. So Aries is doing. And I know somebody say, "Oh, you want us to give him applaud him for doing the right thing?" Well, yeah, kind of applaud the man for doing the right thing. He's doing the right freaking thing. He's trying to get to know her. He's not smashing her. He's doing all the things. Yeah, dude, he has to work through some of his issues. Yeah, he has some issues that he needs to work through. I'm not saying that, but he's doing the right things according to what the parameter of the show is. As far as we know, he's trying. We'll see in the month anniversary because I want to see if he does anything for her for the month anniversary.
He's not trying.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't think he's trying because it's a simple thing. Hey, your teeth are messed up, and that's what's turning me off. That's simple. I don't like the way you cook eggs or eat so much bacon. Can you try to do something else? I know that's a sense of trying to change her, but it's like, hey, tell her what's turning you off.
Okay, so if it's not something major like that, if you understand it's just I'm shallow and it's a physical thing. The other thing is, like we said last week, then you do what your cousin, who we don't really like, but she gave good advice, you do what your cousin said. Try something. Try to develop some physical. Try to hold hands. Try to do some hug. Try to take that step. You keep drilling this home, Glenn, and I said I'm gonna give him credit for not taking advantage of her, but at the same time, I'm gonna need you to grow up. I need him to grow up.
I totally agree that he needs to grow up because if I think in this show it's different because you want people to try to stay together for 8 weeks, right? But if he already in his heart of heart knows this ain't gonna be it for 8 weeks, we can at least be cordial.
I know it's not gonna be it. It's just based on the fact that I'm not physically attracted to her, not sexually attracted to her, and you're not even trying. You're not trying to get. Because what he should be doing is, and we're spending a lot of time on them, but what he should be doing is saying to myself,
it's
okay,
only 4 couples. We only got one more couple left though.
What he should be saying is, Aries, get outside yourself. I'm in this process to try something different than I normally do. And what I normally do is get hung up on the physical. Let me do something different and not get hung up on the physical and not let that stop me from trying to develop a relationship. Let's do it in the order it's supposed to be, which is let's build an emotional, social, that kind of connection, and then let it progress to that. Like the couple, they came to talk to Kirsten and Shaq, but like that married couple, they said, I wasn't attracted to them at first, but it grew to that. You know what I'm saying? Try that. come into Married at First Sight. You're on Married at First Sight. Supposedly, I'm not sure about him. You come in Married at First Sight because the way I've been doing it myself hasn't worked. So let somebody else do it for me. And then let me do it different than I did before. Okay, so they matched me with somebody. So let me not treat this like it's somebody I picked. So let me not be so sex focused. And so her butt's not big enough. Her hips not wide enough. Her thighs not big enough. Okay, got all that. Maybe what you should be looking at anyway is the stuff that he said. I would trust her to watch the kids. She took care of me. That's what you're looking for in a marriage. Because when the rubber meets the road and we get to till death do us part, and when her butt is dragging on the floor, and when her hair's not what it used to be, and when her nose is spread across her face because she didn't have babies, that's when you know that I'm in this for the long haul. And so that's what he needs to be doing.
I agree with 90 Nicole. He should have went to therapy like what he did. I think Aries does need therapy. I think Aries, there's a lot of things that Aries needs to get
supposedly
fixed.
He been working on himself though. He read self-help books and he said he did something like that.
We know that sometimes when you get to that point, you need some professional help. So we'll see for the next couple of weeks.
I'm over Aries. Because I'm going to say this and then we can move. He ain't all that to me. I mean, y'all can let me know in the chat. I think he thinks more highly of himself than he is. That's my opinion.
I got you. We good. I'm not saying he's the best thing. So I'm just saying.
If you ask me, I think Jasmine has probably pulled better.
She probably has.
So don't get too full of yourself, sir.
All right, I'm moving on. We done. I'm done. Tommy, anything else on Aries and Jasmine?
That's it.
I'm done. Oh man, let's go.
Dr. Umar.
Let's go to Shaquille and Kirsten. Tommy, your thoughts on Shaquille and Kirsten from this past episode? And Quad, we're gonna make sure we keep this kind of PG for you, brother.
They was like, they cover his ears. I was like, nah, he got to grow up and be a man. What I want to say about them, I'm gonna try to keep it brief because we spent a lot of time on Aries, but I think Kirsten is getting in the way of them being happy. I do feel like Shaq failed at one part of the conversation. When she asked about an insecurity that he had, but she just her not having anything to come up with. He should have guided that conversation a little bit better than what he did, instead of trying to chastise her. So I'd take the opportunity to kind of say, well, tell me about a time when. Like Artika used the example of those are just icebreakers. At that point, you need it. Because sometimes you have to lead the conversation because you're not getting anything. Unless you're just gonna dead the conversation. Now that's a different thing. So it's like I feel like Shaq didn't really take the opportunity in that moment, because it's for her, it looks like she's just very shallow, right? Just real surface level. He wants to be deeper. Like you know of the people that's fake woke. We've all heard of those people that, but hey man, hey, I know, I get it. But it's just that's gonna be their hindrance, is that she doesn't open up to him in opportunities, and that was an opportunity he basically could have asked her anything and she would have gave an answer. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, if he wanted to find out something sexual about her, she would have told her. If he wanted to find out like what hurt her, she would have told him. But she just like, it's so much, and she's going through her Rolodex trying to figure out, what is it can I tell him? What is it can I tell him? What is it can I tell him? That's not gonna make him change his view of me. Because it's things that, like, we gotta realize, what are they, 20 days in or something like that, right? 20 days in, they're still like trying to get to know each other. So she don't want to put everything out because indeed she's a calculated woman. She knows what information is pertinent to painting her a specific way. Artika used the idea that she has a pretty face, and that's what has allowed her to skate by for so long. So it's like I look at Shaq and I was like, man, that was an opportunity right there. But you took it like saying that, hey, these are the things that's causing us not to move further. Like that's a conversation to have too, and perfect opportunity for it. But I think if he would have had more of a leading questions to ask her, she would have opened up a little bit more, and that conversation would have happened a little bit better. What they say?
I mean, I think she's been hurt, man. She's been hurt by somebody or something that really has got her to the point where Kat has her tongue. She doesn't like to open up and share about her past issues or past hurts and past feelings, and she can't get past it. You know, even when you watch the after party, Keisha and I Pulliam had to really kind of reel her in and say, I call BS on some of the things that you're saying, because you're she's giving the pageant answers, right? And we talk about Jasmine. Kirsten is giving the pageant answers. She's not being her true, authentic self when she says here, only she was true and authentic on this episode. The point that she was true and authentic was when she said she don't like to be alone. And she didn't want to be, he was being alone. She was being lonely because he was leaving her at home by herself. She doesn't like to be alone. But she has to understand that here, she needs some counseling. She needs some help to be able to let those walls down. And he has to be patient enough to allow her to let the walls down. When you take a wall down, sometimes you're going to take it brick by brick, right? You can't, the wall's not coming down totally over one night, or in this case, not coming down over 20 days. So there's going to be a process to take the walls down. And she's going to have to take each brick out, get healing from it, and then move next brick, this brick out, get healing from it, and move on, and realize that her life is not perfect. And she doesn't have to be everything to everybody. And that's what it seems like she is. She's trying to be everything to everybody. And she has a perception that people look at her, or a pedestal that people put her on. And she does not want to be able to fly underneath that pedestal and have people look at her a certain type of way. Again, she has a lot of people counting on her. And so she's always been able to have that pressure in life. And sometimes she's been able to handle it. Sometimes she hasn't been able to handle it. One thing I didn't like about Shaq in this episode, and me and my wife talked about this, I do think Shaq should have told her about the job situation. At least let her have, because what I'm saying is this, and the reason I say that, because that opens the communication up. That shows her that you trust her, right? That shows her that you have some faith in her, and that not necessarily she agree with your opinion or y'all have different opinions, but it shows her that you have faith enough to tell her, we're married. This is what's on the table. What do you think? Right? Give your opinion. So now that may even help her to bring her walls down. Like, this dude actually trusts me with some of these major decisions that he's making in life. And so when I think he didn't do that, it took back into her, in her mind, like, dang, and you leaving her at home all the time. Yo, I know, busy man, you gotta have a balance. There has to be a balance there. And then you gotta explain to her what you do for your job, how you do things. Because we look at this is an MO of his. When he went to Mississippi to do his, his doctorate dissertation or whatever he did, he left her in a hotel room again. I mean, he left her in a room. So therefore, there has to be a point where he has to realize that my wife, I don't want to use the word needy, but I need to be there for her. And I need to show some companionship for her. That means I got to get up a little early, because the comment he said, I need my gym time. I need this time. I need that time. Well, if you're doing all this, where's the time? Where do you fit your wife in, right? If you're doing all your time, where do you fit your wife in your life? You're married now. So you may have to sacrifice some of your time in order to make it your time in order for your marriage to grow. It just can't be you. You was doing that before you got married. So you have to eliminate some of your things or adjust your schedule a little bit to meet and accommodate the worst person that you say you love and that you're with. That was my issue with Shaq there, that he needs to change some of his things and not make it more about him, but make it about them. And with her, she needs to go ahead and just let some of the walls down if it's one brick at a time. Because I didn't like her answer when she said, I got a lot of things, and she didn't say anything. And what Shaq could have did as a man to ease that conversation is, okay, honey, you say you have a lot of things. Can we start with why wasn't you attracted to me? Right? Can we start with why is it now that you are feeling more attracted to me? Or start with the elephant in the room. Why is it that you miss me when I'm gone, but you said you're not attracted to me? He could have eased the conversation to have her speak. He just wanted her to pop out with some things.
A couple things. The first thing, and you and I went back and forth about this, with the thing with the job situation. I feel like he could have shared with her, I have a job opportunity, but just to share, not for her to have no input, because we ain't there. Like, you know, we 20 some days in, we not in it deep enough for you to actually help me make the decision. Like, I'm not going to do that. But the thing about it is that she said was, I know he has potential for growth, and like, I don't want to hold him back from building his career. So I think even if he had shared it with her, she still would have went with whatever he said, because that's where she is with it. The other thing is, when he was like, tell me one thing about you that I don't know. And she was like, it's a lot of things. And then like y'all saying, then she shut down and was like, well, I don't really know. I don't really know. I believe somebody in the comments said this, and it's true. She has to feel safe to share with him, but I don't know what else he could do to make her feel more safe. He's providing a safe place for her to land. She's not opening up. And what I'm getting from that is she obviously shared something with somebody. It's giving me that she shared something about herself with somebody she was with, and they used it against her. They probably brought it back up and was like, oh, you know. And so she's like, I'm not going to give anybody that opportunity to use what I said, my insecurities, my issues, my past, and bring it up to me as a weapon. They probably weaponized whatever it is that she said. And so then she doesn't want to share. The other thing, maybe it's something that's very embarrassing to her that she don't want to share. The other thing is, I'm thinking, maybe she really ain't got nothing. I wonder. You know, maybe it's like, I don't have this big old story. I don't have nothing outrageous that, you know, happened in my life. And so now I'm feeling like, well, I didn't go through nothing. So you want me to be all traumatized, except for that last relationship. But other than that, you know, maybe things have been peaches and cream with her. And she like, I mean, I really don't have nothing. I feel bad because I don't have nothing. Mm-hmm. It's one of those three. It's probably more like she was vulnerable with somebody and they used it against them, use it against her. And so she doesn't want to share. But again, the question is, what else can Shaquille do to provide a safe space for her? He's told her, we can talk about anything, share with me. I'm open. I want to know about you. And she's still real stuck. This is where the experts need to come in to help them open up some more, help her open up some more. And she's got to be willing to do it. Who else was it? It was another couple that was the thing with them, is you got to let your wall down. Who's responsible for the wall? You are. Who's responsible for keeping it up or letting it down? You are. So
that was Jasmine and Mike.
Yeah, let the wall down.
I think with her, and I said this many times, I think a lot of these people should go to counseling before they're on the show. I think that should be a step where we see them speaking with the experts or them telling about some of the issues that they have prior to getting on the show. There's a lot of underlying issues with her that can hinder a relationship. Goes back to, I gotta ask the question: this: if she was with a guy like Aries, does she open up?
No.
I'm just let me just throw the question out there. You know, if she was Aries, does she?
Huh?
I say that's tough to see if she will open up to him, because I mean, like, Shaq is a in that moment, it seemed like he would be a person that she could trust and talk to. Now, I'm agreeing with everybody, like, she was hurt before, but the issue comes in is that, like Brando saying, you gotta leave the past in the past. once you get past it, you know what I'm saying? Like you realize you're in a new relationship. You're with this man, and he wants to know about you. Shaq could have did something like, "Hey, I'll pinky swear that I'm not gonna tell anybody," or something goofy in that moment. But it was a very vulnerable moment, or at least I felt it was a vulnerable moment that conversation can be had. He opened up about his insecurities. Well, what's the insecurity that you have? You don't have any furniture. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like those type of questions just to get a conversation going. Like we've all had been in spots where we needed to where we needed to talk more because the conversation was just ending. You know, and that's the thing that was the issue, is just that the conversation was just ending. So like, hey, have these conversations, ask open-ended questions. Do that part, because obviously she has her guard up. Help her bring it down. Like, I know it's her wall, but be the reason why she wants to. It's because you're asking her questions that she never would have even thought to just put out there. And that was my thing.
You know, my thing too, Tommy, you know, someone made a comment, maybe they should talk off camera. They can't, because Shaq's never home. I mean, let's be. I'm not trying to be funny, right? The time they can talk when it's off camera. She said by the time he gets home, she sleep. So they're not having them late night conversations. They're not having those conversations when production leaves and production is gone, because he's never there. So in a sense, I kind of blame him.
But you have to know, that's when you have to be creative. Okay, so even though I'm not home, does that mean we can't talk? That's when you're making phone calls when you do have time away. That's why you're sending text messages. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to put that all on him that he's not there, because it's a way to be there even if you're not physically there. They need to be there physically with each other, but also the building is, we need to be talking to each other. We can FaceTime each other. We can text each other. You got to be all of that.
But again, it's not on her. He's not doing that because, again, as a man, if you want to know, you do everything you can to help her break the walls down, right? Because it's your responsibility. You make it more comfortable. Because, again, I guarantee Shaq is spending more time, and I'm not trying to, when I say this, I don't even trying to be funny. He's spending more time being a mentor to the young men than he is being a husband to his wife.
But is that his fault? I mean, that's what they have to contend with. That's the whole point of them doing the honeymoon thing. And then they come back and they're trying to see how they can, when they get back to the real world, how do we work this out? So unfortunately, his job is such that it's required. That's not going to change just because he's on Married at First Sight. You're saying his job is requiring more. So yeah, like we're saying the same thing. He has to be intentional about making the time, but he can't exactly tell them, I need you to reschedule this thing because I got to go home to my wife.
No, he's not really, he doesn't ever say that. But what I'm saying is, from some of the functions at the university or some of the things that he's doing, he's like, hey, by the way, can you invite her into his world and make her a little bit more comfortable, feel like she's a part of it? You know, and I'm speaking from experience, right? Because I've been there. Sometimes my coach and the things that I do, but I like, hey, I got this event going on. We got this banquet going on. We got this function going on. Do you mind coming? Right? In matter of fact, okay, you ride early. Let's ride together. I mean, let's do. I'm working out. Do you mind working out with me? Whatever the case may be. Oh, you got to show a house? I got about 15, 20 minutes. Matter of fact, hey, Kirsten, I'm on my lunch break. How you doing? Let's FaceTime each other while I'm on lunch breaks, right? So those things but again, that's what happens when you intentionally, if she has walls up and you see that she's not breaking her walls down, as a husband, you intentionally try to help and assist and make it more comfortable for those walls to loosen them up so she can take there. So I'm not blaming him per se all 100%. I'm not blaming her 100%. There's things as a husband that you can do to help alleviate some of that situation. And she's trying to do it with the massage situation, even, with the whole staycation, but it went south. So I think is a twofold thing that they both have to be able to work on it and know, okay, they identified the issue. The issue is that she has walls, right? We identified the issue. Now, how can we, as a couple, not me as Shaq, not me as Kirsten, but how can we as a couple help alleviate this? And what can I do? Because he should be asking the question, what can I do to make it more comfortable? Because when she said I got a ton of issues and she didn't want to share, my next comment was, how can I help you in this situation? Is it something that I can do? Do we need to have, because I'd have been like this, do we need to have a conversation when the cameras are off?
That's true.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, do we need to have, but I think it's more than just, do we need to have a conversation with the cameras off? They need some tools. They need the experts to give them some tools to begin to open up. They might need the activity like Jasmine and Michael did. They might need, who did the thing with the blindfold? So you put the blindfold on and not be as, truthful and honest. They might.
That was Jasmine and Michael also.
That was them too?
Yeah.
Shoot.
They needed a lot of help.
Yeah, it didn't help. But they're gonna need some tools to help them open up, because
they need some exercises like they do. What's the other show that you used to watch? Couples on WeTV with the couples.
Oh, marriage boot camp.
Yeah, they need some marriage boot camp activities that they do on marriage boot camp to help alleviate some of this. So that's all the couples, man. Y'all been great in the chat, man, and hitting it up. I appreciate all that you guys doing. Tommy, anything you have on any of these couples, man? Your closing thoughts, man. And Quad, you've been holding it down too, brother.
Quad been over here yelling, man. Nah, man. It's. I love the couples. I just wish they were more open to each other. I just think they like it gotta be something for them to click to say, hey, let me have this conversation with them. You know what I'm saying? I agree with everybody saying that they need therapy. I'm hoping that a new change for Married at First Sight would be that they take the people through marriage counseling, just to kind of like guide them on, hey, these are things that's gonna show up, because a lot of people don't know that. But hey, man, just follow us, subscribe to our channel. I'm trying to get out of here real quick. But subscribe to our channel, August Love Story. Subscribe to Artika's channel, Life with Artika, and check out her things that she's got going on. I'm really proud of her with that. I think she just released a video or is releasing a video, so check that out. What else? No, I mean, join us on our review. We release it on Fridays, and then we do Saturday morning coffee break, so join us there too. So yeah, that's all I got.
Oh, I was just going to say, to piggyback on what Tommy said, and just like Talisa said the other week, make sure you like the videos to help the algorithm. Like the videos, thumbs up the videos on our channels, on everybody's channels. Okay, so when people search, they'll find us. It'll come up to the top. Other than that, I have nothing else to say about these couples, except the fact that I feel like we still, because before I was 1 out of 5. Now I think I'll probably be like 1 out of 4. When it comes to decision day, we'll probably say yes.
Yeah, I think it's 1. I think it's 1 right now. But again, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you being in the chat once again. I am not an Aries apologist.
I lied.
All right. I'm just speaking. I am just being the devil's advocate for this case.
I know. Look, side note, Glenn be sticking up for Aries like he used to live that life, and trust me, he did not, or we would not be here.
I live the Chris life. I like thick chicks. But I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all again. Hit the subscribe button. You guys have a great week. Enjoy. Hey, see y'all next week.
Bye. Y'all.